So, actually, I have a number of things going on in my head. Uh, my favorite of which is that my lover, my lover got back last night, and I hadn't seen him in a bit. I mean, and I love how he kept saying and even more showing how beautiful, how sexy, how loved. He has never dropped the L-bomb, which I highly respect, because he shows me how well and how much I'm loved. Because words will lie, so I need never question, just like he need never question. Even though we have our own lives, doing our own things, in every respect. Love transcends. And I guess that's kind of like a really good transition. I mean, for me, the movie Devil's Advocate was one of those 90s, late teens, early 20s, walk out of the movie theater, holy fuck, you think about what life means for the next day kind of films. And I remember, vanity, my favorite sin. And, capital sin being what has become and dominated this country, we disguise capital sin, wrapped in a flag and carrying a cross, and have strayed so far from what it means to be American. U.S. culture promotes terrorism, probably first and foremost domestically. How many people do you know, the base of the foundation, living meaning the country stands on our shoulders, and we also happen to be at the lowest level of Maslow's hierarchy of need. Sorry, dog takes priority anyway. The vast majority of America is at war. We are at the lowest point in Maslow's hierarchy of need. We are fighting for basic needs of necessity, prevented from the opportunity of working our way up to realize self-actualization. And we do it with the yoke of capital sins that hoodwink us into thinking that this false democracy is somehow the multiple choice answers to a test that has all the wrong questions. I mean, so please at no point look at me and think that this has been easy. It has not. And looking at my own reflection, the thing about my lover is that, yes, I happen to have female genitalia, and I happen to prefer, penises in my bedroom, which my bedroom is none of your business. But I am equally good and equally impressive at both sides of the coin. I've been a model with drop-dead gorgeous photos that even turned me on. And I have been the person who had to go through special ops training twice with the cartilage in both my ankles shattered, and I did it. I did it. Clearly wasn't the smartest thing, but hey, I was told to try my best when I was a kid growing up, and I apparently never unlearned that lesson. And John McHugh and I actually have Alex Plitzis as a common friend. Plitzis was a sergeant in my unit back when he, back before his degrees. Back when his, his proud accomplishment was having been a New York firefighter. You know, rock on, Plitzis, dude. You know, you and I have always respected each other as professionals for very valid reasons. But remember, I already had all that education when you met me. You would then go on to get yours, which I hear you've been doing great, you know, at all whatever you're doing and stuff, but remember, I have at least a decade more experience than Alex Plitzis in the very things that people seem to, well, I mean, I don't know, we've parted ways, I'm sure, since PSYOP, you know, but point being, for some reason everybody writes me off, including John McHugh, and John McHugh, dude, it's your own pride, it's your own arrogance, you know, and I find, but then I'm not actually blaming John McHugh specifically. I'm holding him accountable, but I'm just making him as an example of something that America does all of the damn time. That's been the problem with Marina Towers. They just wrote me off, you know, which was an inhumane, unchristian, and immoral thing to do, but, you know, not at all uncommon, especially in this wonderful country whose culture has degraded so much that the real issue is not that Muslims hate us. The real issue is that the world hates us. And Muslims just happen to be the ones that are acting. So, oh my God. Instead of, I don't know, addressing an ideological war ideologically and helping to diminish and remove the reasons why the entire world fucking hates us. Dude, when I rolled out of the wire, my lover would put a British flag on my backpack to protect me. What the fuck does that say? You know how we pick about the French? You know, guess what? The entire world thinks of us that way. When are we gonna look in the mirror and see that the problem is us? And it's so fucking obvious. We've got people in protests to get a goddamn living wage just to survive. We even know we have strayed this far. And American culture is too proud. No, not American culture. America is what Americans look up to in veterans. It's what we admire. Bless you. It's why we hold them above others. What it means to be American is exactly what Americans are shaming in veterans. And we're being shamed so much, we're dying 20 times faster than war, which means the degradation of U.S. culture has become 20 times more dangerous, at least to veterans, and really let's look at the big picture here, than terrorism. Effectively, because, you know, let's think about this logic, A plus B equals C kind of thing, which would mean the terrorists are trying to give us a wake-up call. The terrorists are trying to give us a wake-up call because they're fucking terrified we're going to infect them with everything that we already know is wrong with us. We already know what's wrong with us because a building would literally tell me, we can't let the employees think you can get them fired, but yet the employee is allowed to sexually harass me, a brutalized recovering veteran, to the point of a mental breakdown. That's fucked up, because America will allow a veteran that was so desperate I wanted to taste a bullet. And John McHugh's response was how he felt bad for all the ink he had on his hands for signing condolence letters. But you will do not a goddamn thing to help me. You would rather feel bad and let the problem persist than do even the slightest thing to fucking change it effectively. None of this coulda, woulda, shoulda, officers, Congress, pass bills shit. Fuck, that's what got us this far to begin with. And so in the past week I reread my book, and because my short-term memory, I can't remember shit, that's fact. My brain busted in 5 places. I had a partial lobotomy, and I am genuinely, honest to God, disabled. I am 40 shades of fucked up. But at which I have always been good. I am even better. And I even tried to tell John McHugh that. See, that's the amusing thing, is because I'm a turning the screw kind of gal, and much like Babe Ruth, I have called my shots each step of the way, informing them that I was about to turn the screw a little more. All of them, every step of the way, from Bitsy the Terrorist to Marina Towers to John McHugh to Ourisman Automotive, whose inaction has allowed me to suffer from a respiratory condition that can't be treated, that the best way I can describe it is like being waterboarded 24/7. Thank you, Ourisman. I am absolutely certain let's go for the win-win here. Let's go for the win-win, because I don't have either short-term memory, space in my heart, time in my life, or the give a fuck to go after the revenge, for which will only ever be a lose-lose, because that's looking outward. Hey everybody, let's go for the win-win, looking inward. Oh my God. So not only did I reread my book and because I don't remember writing any of that. I mean, I know it sounds like me. I know it's the cadence I would speak. It is the words I would use. But I don't remember writing that, And then I felt, I don't know how to say it, but to just say it. I was on my floor, walking down a hall that was, because my building is Y-shaped, so I was on my floor, walking down a hall that was not my own, walked straight up to a door that I don't know who lives there, and took the flyer off of the door that was stuck in there. Hey, it's public space, and very quickly read over it. It was an entire page of text, and the name, it was a flyer, basically campaigning for HOA elections and such, and it was like the name Bitsy leapt off to me, grabbing my attention, fucking 3D. I don't even remember what the rest of this shit said, but knowing that fucking bitch has swatted me, I felt compelled to go down to the front desk, and all they had to do was say yes. So don't go blaming people, and somebody owes Judy an apology. But that was for a while ago, but still, whatever happened to don't shoot the messenger? So I went down there, now armed with this name, because the woman that has fucking tortured me, the woman that fucking swatted me, I didn't even know her name. I don't care. I want to know as little a fuck about the fact that she exists as possible. And after she swatted me and the cops went back and told her to leave my ass alone, she stayed away for a while, thank God, at least during the peak of the David Harris sexual harassment shit. So God gave me a reprieve, at least for a couple of months. And then she fucking came up in the hallway. I was in the hallway with Lucky, and she came up and started harassing me again. I'm like, you don't want to do this. Turning of the screw. Make your own bed, because you are not going to enjoy laying in it. I will make sure of that. And so I felt I can't explain it. Possession has some sort of a stigma. Gut instinct somehow seems to be wishy-washy, devalued. All I can say is that I was compelled to just randomly walk to some random fucking place, do something I would never normally do, and just fucking pick up a flyer, and felt compelled to instantly walk downstairs and say, is this person in this apartment running for election? Because there's only 2 people up for the HOA. She said yes. Within hours, the same day that my boyfriend was coming home, right? Within hours, I already had the mission operated, planned, designed, and ready to execute. Because I felt it was compelled. Because Hitler was able to fake his way through and the Germans let him, because they were distracted by the symbolism, they listened to the charisma. Remind anybody that people know of? Because I'm a shut-in. I actually really just, I prefer not to know what the fuck's going on, and I was so fucking excited to see the American people actually have the insight and foresight and conscious realization to see that Trump is very similar to Hitler, only you don't know why. Let me explain to you why. It's called a cult of personality. Google it. A cult of personality very specifically distracts you from being able to think critically by a really bad fucked up haircut, a really specific type of tie, although notice he was always classically red and yet now somehow he's blue. So he's trying to reach to both sides subconsciously, both that identify with the red and both that identify with the blue, but also because he needed the color to tone himself down, because it would be intimidating for him to be too intimidating. And then he does this nice little magician sleight of hand where he throws stats and quotes and comments and shit, but the thing that Pete does, the thing that America doesn't know is that those statistics and polls and shit are rigged from the fucking beginning, because the kind of answers they get is fucking designed by the question. The same exact reason why I think it's Sweden has 100% organ donor rate on their driver's licenses, because it's check the box to not. Check the box if you don't want to donate your organations. Check your box if you don't. De-check this box if you don't want to be spammed. The way the question is formed dictates the outcome of the statistics. So the statistics really are nothing but subterfuge to back up the point of the person that wants to use them. And for every action, there is an equal opposite reaction. For every test that gives these statistics that does this, there's an equal person out there that's doing this statistics to say that. Because statistics and quotes and all that kind of shit is designed to distract you from thinking critically and to tell you what they want you to think by playing on your emotions, because it is the easiest, weakest, low-hanging fruit of logical fallacies. Tap into the emotion because you have nothing else backing you up. Come on, stupid America, fall for it. All I'm asking America to do is think critically. All John McHugh would have to do was fucking not be so goddamn prideful and arrogant that I couldn't possibly have had something important to say. So prideful and arrogant that, well, I have a PhD in psychology. Well, fine, you obviously didn't learn much. I'm married to a diplomat. Well, fine, he obviously couldn't lead you to being a better person, even in how many years of marriage? It's obviously been a few, looking at your age. Age does not equate wisdom. Back the fuck up. You know, I could not, knowing that on her floor alone, she has harassed, abused, caused serious mental and emotional hardship, and swatted not just me, but other people in the building. At least 20% of her floor who are disabled veterans. It makes her feel better to pick on us, even using the police as a weapon against us. Fuck you, bitch! Jesus, you know just enough to be fucking dangerous. And in good conscience, I could not leave my battle behind. 'Cause deuces, bitch, I'm moving to a villa in Thailand. I got nothing to lose and there's not a goddamn bit of leverage anybody has over me. 'Cause there's not a person standing on this planet that could do more to me than what I've already overcome. You wanna know why terrorists are so dangerous? Because they fear nothing. Good for the world, I'm a hell of a fucking good person. Anyway, Ourisman Automotive, please help me to make up for your mistake in doing the right thing, and let's make it really, really, really great publicity, not just for Ourisman Automotive, but for the entire Ourisman family array of corporations. Because I am very good what I do, and because the only right answer is a win-win. Anything less than a win-win is failure. So let's do this. You know, and okay, so I reread my book and like, wow, how emotionally grounding. Even I am learning from rereading my own stuff, because one, I don't really remember writing as much of that. And who can say, can you remember what you ordered for lunch last week? I mean, who knows? One, maybe who knows? But also, you know, I got fucking brain damage. I got challenges. Who knows? You know, I mean, that's part of the irony and the amusing part of having so much fuck it up wrong with you, is because nobody knows where one part ends and the other part begins. But you know what? I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. And for anybody wanting to ask more from me than that would be goddamn unreasonable and unfair. Anyway, so that brings me to, for some random reason today, and I gotta take Lucky out in a bit, but I want to wrap this up. For some random reason today, I picked up my grad school thesis and started reading it. Whoa. Okay, now let me back up and say that I went to grad school at Seoul National University. Most Koreans, when they say that, older generation wants to touch me or bow to me. Younger, anyone that's middle-aged or lower is like, woo, yeah, okay, that kind of school, right? My instructors were the who's who of who. And me being the overcompensating, you know, whatever I am, I choose the hardest board I can to defend my thesis against. Now, my background is in the psychology of negotiations and peacekeeping. I have a master's in international studies in peacekeeping and negotiations, where I specifically chose to tailor it to psychology. And boy, did that frustrate and confuse my professors time and again. Actually, that's kind of feeds into the funny story about my thesis, because for some reason, people seem to think it entertaining. Trouble finds me. You know, I'm just trying to be me, which never seems to be enough for anybody, whether I'm the fucking hottest chick, the guy comes home and he's like, damn, girl, I missed you. Or it's downrange. You know, I have done my best to be the best person I am, and I just am, you know? So school, I originally had put a lot of effort into and interest into developing the psychology of identity. And who's to say if it was my pushing or their refusal to push back, who knows, whatever, or them, who knows what happened, but I was in love with a U.S. officer at the time, and I was moving back to the United States December 16th, and that means I had 3 months complicated with the fact that my Korean landlord tried to kill me, that the United Nations Command and my boys had to charge in and come fucking not only save my life, but handle the situation. The fact that we literally caused everything but an international incident, because Major Gill, damn, I'm impressed, yo. He talked my friend, because, you know, we're all, I was not a soldier. I was not a service member at the time. I was a civilian. But all those boys fucking rocked up. They rocked in deep. Even with a fucking UN vehicle. Some of them in uniform. And, one of them was actually handcuffed in the back of the cop car. And Major Gill talked him loose. In Korean! In Korean! I mean, damn, right? Major Gill talked his way out of the back of a cop car in Korean. Mad props, sir. Thank you. You know, I mean, fucking, I'm in my early 20s at this shit, and at this point, and I just goddamn ranger roped from the top of an icy building with a goddamn cable TV cord when I ain't never done shit like that. But I got my guys up above holding me, telling me, do this, do this, do this, and I'm like this? They're like, yeah. You make shit happen. You know, I remember it being really icy and having mittens on and just being fucking terrified that my last sight was going to be looking up at them standing on the roof, looking over at me going, oh. But hey, I fucking did it. And when you're ranger roping, try not to use a cable TV cord. It fucking digs into your thighs. Anyway. So the guy that was in the back of the squad car, and we were all just friends. I do not fuck my brothers, okay? We were all just friends, but obviously seeing the shit it hit the fan to the degree that it had. Obviously seeing the shit that hit the fan to the degree that it had. Knowing that I was in love with an officer. And I was on my way out, knowing that I was on my very last stretch of a graduate degree in peacekeeping at the top school in Korea. My boys were just like, you're crashing with us. You know, I mean, there's an inflatable bed in the office, and I remember when he would head out at ODark 30 for morning PT or whatever, he would tap a can of Red Bull on the floor and then slowly drag it on the out of the way, so I would have to crawl out of it because it wouldn't be enough to just wake me up. I mean, like, I had 3 months to research, write, and publish and defend a thesis that I could fit, that I could adapt, that I could mold into what they would accept for my graduation, right? I slept so little and drank so much Red Bull, I would literally go into convulsions. You know, I mean, hey, you do what you gotta do, right? You know, the irony is when I came back to the States, I became a marketing and promotions Red Bull representative. What? That was just funny. They fucking loved my story on that. Hey, I needed a job. I needed money, right? I was back in the States. I needed money. Anyway. So I'm reading my thesis again for just some random reason, right? Well, first of all, it says 2008, but I want to correct something. I put myself through school. Every damn thing I've done in my life, I've done by my goddamn self, with the in-passing support of people God put in my path. Without them, I would be nothing. Without the love, kindness, and support of those that helped me, I wouldn't even be alive, much less what I am. Having said that, I know it seems oxymoronic, but I trust you'll just sort of get it. Nobody fucking helped me. You know? I pissed my fucking dean off, and this is in Korea, the land of Confucianism, the land of break eye contact and bow. Actually, Korea is the most Confucianist nation in Asia. Damn, right? And because he refused to follow their own rules, I made that poor man so angry he was shaking. These are your rules. I was fucked over. You will hold them up. You will uphold your own rules. Dude was fucking shaking pissed. He was the dean. Whew. Anyway, so when I say I did all this shit, just know that I was fucking busting my ass, right? The Kaesong Industrial Complex, effective tool or naive bribe, is the current approach to incentivizing North Korea being implemented effectively. 2008. It was not 2008. It was actually 2005. But Americans are not allowed to graduate until they've paid off their schooling, and it took me a couple of years, yo. Like, what do you want from me? So technically this is actually 2005, not 2008, which is all the more validated because I was in the United States Army from 2006 to 2008. Okay. And the funny thing is, I am quite literally playing by the playbook I wrote a decade ago on how to force negative, malicious, indignant parties into a win-win. I quite literally wrote the playbook. Wow. I wrote the playbook and I did it a decade ago. And you know that who's bored of like the world, like bad damn? Woo, that was hard, but that's why I chose them. So it was the hardest I could possibly have. Because my life has never been about proving anything to anybody else. It's been about proving everything to myself. So yes, I deliberately chose the absolute most difficult thesis defense board I could get at the top school in the country. And with a shaking voice and sweaty palms defended a thesis so well. Their response was, "How did you even think of this? How did you not? How is it America is still entrenched in an ideological war, fighting it in a physiological way, and actually there's even a portion of Americans that are listening to a cult of personality manipulator that apparently even America is already identifying as Hitler. Hitler, Lenin, the Kim regime in North Korea. What do they have in common? The same fucking exact thing I am doing to force people into a win-win situation, and the exact thing Donald Trump is trying to do, and I pray he fails, so that he can destroy this country in the manner that he chooses. Because look around, America is already at war. America's already fighting to survive. We're already starving to death. We're already imploding and going at each other. So much, so bad, that when veterans realize we can't escape any further, we give up. because we are ashamed at the burden we carry, having fought for something that can't even do right by us because they can't even see past their nose. We're lucky if somebody thinks linear, one-dimensionally, at least, thinking of themselves, point A, and a point of view of another point. A to B is a line, that's one dimension. We are at least four-dimensional people living in at least a four-dimensional world. Why the fuck do we behave in such a naive, selfish, destructive manner? A manner 20 times more fatal to the U.S. than terrorism. All I'm asking you to do is think. Please, please, think. Because for the same reasons, I could not leave behind. I'm moving to a villa in Thailand. I really don't give a fuck. But I cannot leave my brother behind, knowing that he is tortured by a tyrant. Just as I cannot leave my country behind and all my brothers in it, knowing that they are being failed every day in every way, because even those that are doing the best fucking thing they can to help have been set up for failure. I wrote the playbook a decade ago. Please, people, just think critically. Google logical fallacies and thinking critically. Because people that refuse to do something have no fucking right to complain. Please just think critically. I love America. I am repulsed by what the United States culture has become. I lead the way in utmost faith that you have my back. Please, I need help. I really do. I need help. Because I'm trying to do a good thing. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to do the only thing that I know to be is right, which is what I believe to be God, because God is the only thing that comes without a price. God is the only win-win. The answer is love. But we only got so many cheeks we can turn. I'll read the chapter of choice later, but just like I'll read that letter of such wonderful connection and meaning from the owner of the villa, a Vietnam veteran, and a wonderful human being that sees me for who I am. Something I can't even ask from the people that run my building, my own neighbor, or even the man that was the absolute top dog in my service and still refused to help me. Okay, your hands were tied, John McHugh. They're not now. You have been challenged. What are you gonna do? Because your actions say more than your words. And I'm not doing shit. I'm not doing shit. Not a law broken, not a line crossed, not even an issue of morality. I am ice bucket challenging people to either change and grow into better people, creating a better world for a win-win situation that we all get to enjoy, or lay in the bed you made. Marina Towers, Bitsy the Terrorist, John McHugh, and Ourisman Family. I name you, I challenge you. Please help me get us all to a win-win by growing beyond that which is done to us. Thank you, and I hope you find peace.